This is not the feminist idea of a patriarchy where the woman is forced to be a breeding machine, like the Handmaid's Tale book, which it's interesting because that's written by a feminist.
Do you ever watch that James Bond movie Moonraker, where they sort of do a parody of the Nazi eugenics program, where they've got all these beautiful blonde men and blonde women, and they're all put into a shuttle and sent off to the moon to breed, and it's it's a parody, but it's this idea that we're going to be ushering people around at gunpoint and forcing them to marry and have children. That's a fictional patriarchy.
Yes. We only want people to have children who really want children, because those are going to be the only people that raise them well. And Dr. Edward Dutton explains that part of wanting children is actually genetic. There is genetic markers that indicate or that increase a person's desire to want children, and those are connected with personality traits. And those personality traits are all what you would call pro-social personality traits. Such as higher conscientiousness, more agreeableness, this kind of thing. And so by allowing only those who want to have children, we're actually creating a better society, a society that gets along better with its members, and a society where children are raised in an environment where they're wanted rather than an environment where they're forced. You know, this is an idea that I have seen on the right side as well that's incorrect about patriarchy, is that women need to be forced into a certain mode of behavior, and that they need to be forced to have children. And I do agree there needs to be encouragement. The truth needs to be told to women about how much they're going to enjoy having kids, and how this, for 99% of women, is the life that's going to be best for them. However, if you force someone to do something and that person isn't able to physically not do, prevent you from doing that, they might have to go along with it at first. And this has happened throughout history. The warlord captures the neighboring village, forces the women to sleep with him. Well, you know what happens? One of those women decides in the night while he's sleeping to take his dagger and plunge it in his neck. Yep, or they take it out on his children. They take it out on his children because they disassociate.
People often misunderstand, I think, one of the basic tenets of the rule of law, especially under what we envisage as a righteous patriarchy. It's not about via positiva law. It's not about forcing people to do certain things. It's not about what you must do. It's about what we won't allow to happen. It's the via negativa law, is the ideal way to manage a society. Here are the boundaries. You don't cross these, because we know that will degenerate and harm our society. It'll harm our children. It'll harm our women. So we won't allow you to do that. That's the via negativa line there. But within those boundaries, you choose. You have liberty to choose what you do with your life. That's the difference.
Absolutely. In a patriarchal society, we protect men as well as women. So some of that burden on the mature men is to protect the younger men as well. And we talk about we were talking about OnlyFans and saying that it's that these women are being taken advantage of. They're selling themselves, and they're destroying their future life value for a few dollars here in the moment. And they're not the only ones suffering. There are men out there desperate for attention, who don't understand how to talk to women, don't understand how to make themselves of a level or a value in life in which women are attracted to them, and they don't have to go chasing them. If you chase women, you'll tend to be called a creep. So you don't want to be doing that. You want to be able to attract them to you. You want to be the magnet that pulls good people around you. They don't understand this. These men have been abandoned by society. And so they're desperate for even fake attention, which they get through OnlyFans. It's fake attention. They're desperate for that, and they're spending thousands of dollars on it. And a lot of people under COVID are more isolated than ever, and this is why it's part of the reason it's exploding the way it is. These young men should not be desperate for attention. They should have the attention of society's older men, guiding them, leading them, helping them figure out what they need to do to have a happy life. If that's marriage, great. If that's not marriage, what honorable position can they have in society? We used to have monasteries. We used to have places that men could go if they either weren't capable of finding a wife, or if they at the moment weren't, or they needed to upgrade themselves a bit. They could go to these places and they could learn about what it meant to be a man. They could fit in somewhere. They could be part of a group. They, at very least, could know that someone will look after them in their old age. We have nothing now. If we're treating people, and I don't say mean you and I, but society is treating people as pure resources. If you don't make children, you have no value. If you don't make money, you have no value. If you are a young man and you can't make money, and you can't get a wife and have children because you don't know how, then you have no value for society. If you die, no one cries, nobody cares. You just disappear. And we have millions of young men in this position, and almost no one is doing anything to address this, to help these young men. And these young men are spending thousands of dollars trying to get attention from internet women. They're trying online dating apps, they're trying all kinds of things, and they're not getting attention because they don't know how to behave in the world.
A lot of these men, these young guys, are also very based and red-pilled, because they don't have families, they spend a lot of time on the internet, they get exposed to a lot of these dissident and dank ideas, and that already puts them, in my view, in a whole different class than a lot of the men who are completely asleep, or, as they like to say on that side of things, woke. These young men have value to offer in their ideas and in their knowledge. So I see that with the right encouragement and training from older patriarchs, that these men could form legions, who are very, very useful to us in the future indeed. So guys, get off the OnlyFans. Do what JDK 52's done here, and come and spend your money more wisely on the Patriarch Hour, or don't spend any money at all. We're offering this advice for free. But come and surround yourself with wholesome encouragement from men who are a bit further along in the life journey than you are, who may have more success than you, and can share a bit of wisdom, because I think we're going to need you guys in the future.
And if you need some attention, direct one-on-one attention, go to my website, book a session, book a coaching session, and I can help you. I can help you get what you need. There's no sense wasting money on digital virtual women, or wasting your energy or your time on it. You're right. These are often these are good young men, and they're misseen by society because they're angry. They're naturally angry, and they should be angry. They're angry because they see what's been done to their civilization. They see that they have been denied the patriarchy to protect them that they should have had. And they're angry about it. But there are things you can do, young men. Contact James, contact myself. We will talk with you one-on-one. We'll help you. And we'll help you to get to a point where you are not powerless anymore, where you become the master of your own world, where you know how to get what you want to get out of life. And that's a big motivation for why we do what we do. A lot of people talk thinking that the Patriarch Hour is about, okay, let's get together and oppress women. The reality is, let's get together and help men be the best they can be, because that's the only way that we can have a patriarchy.
Yes, and it's for the service of women. It's for the women too. I'm becoming the best patriarch that I can be, because I know that it's better for my wife, and she knows that too. And the more we lean into our masculinity and freeing ourselves of these evil programs that have been put into us to weaken us, to make us slaves to the moment, to that hedonistic impulse, all of this. We need to overcome, because we were born weak, we were born vulnerable to suggestion, but we weren't born depraved or evil, and we weren't born to be slaves to our impulses. And so we have a choice. And I believe it really begins for the individual man in the gym, or it doesn't have to be the gym. It's wherever you go. It can begin on that hill. On the back of your land, or down the street, running up a hill, but getting physical and applying your will to your body to improve that and build upon that. that's the beginning of agency in practice. And it makes a really profound change psychologically and spiritually for a man when he begins to shape his body and make it into something that he would be proud of, make it into something that he imagines is possible rather than just what he was born with, and following those impulses day by day. So yeah, I highly encourage men to get physical too.
In fact, young men, I have something for you to do right now. Turn the volume up a bit so you can still hear. Get on the floor, and while we're finishing the show, do as many push-ups as you can. And then in the chat, tell us how many push-ups you did.
Epic. So I've done something, and I'm excited to share it with you guys when we launch it. I'm hoping we'll get it launched at the start of the new year, if not sooner. But we will get physical with you guys in that program. We will do the exercise with you live in real time, and you'll be able to interact with us. But this is going to be a program specifically for building agency in you, and specifically for building a brotherhood of sovereign men who can do their part to get this patriarchy back up and running for the benefit of all.
Absolutely. And we don't have to wait for, this is what the last thing that I wanted to mention is that the very often, glad I'm not a man. You can still do some push-ups if you like, Margot. It's up to you. The last thing
so
that I heard
we're all about women's choice. We're all about women's choice.
It's more of an excuse than a objection specifically, but I will see variations on the theme that, the patriarchy sounds good, but first the laws have to change. But first X needs to happen. But first. Now, let's get the family court figured out. Let's solve the family court problems, and then we can have the patriarchy again. It's backwards. Yeah. Let's change society, and then we'll change culture, and then I'll change. I'll be the very last thing to change. I'll be the anchor that holds us all back. The reality, men, is that you have to embody. Awesome. 23 push-ups is very good.
That was fast too. Good. Yeah. Good fast set. Yeah.
We have to embody the masculinity and the world that we want to live in first. And we have to do it with all the resistance that's out there. And then that will ripple out from us. We'll recruit other men to us. Men will be pulled to us. Yeah. Oh, awesome. 4 o'clock in the morning. You already did 20. Very good.
Amazing. Yep. Great work, Rubber Dub.
And that will ripple out, and that will coalesce into a change in culture. And the change in culture will lead to a change in the law. The law is incredibly conservative. Its inertia is enormous, especially in the last few years when the laws have doubled and tripled in size. They won't be changed until culture changes, and culture will not change until men change. We need to change, and we need to be completely intolerant of anything that stops us from changing and that gets in the way of our changing of culture. It is really the men. Women tend to follow the most masculine man in the room. We have to make sure that we're the most masculine man in the room. We have to make sure that we are the most solid rock around. Governments are handing it to us on a platter right now. They're showing how weak they are. They are breaking their bond, their pact with women. They made this deal when they gave women the vote. Vote for the biggest government program you can, and we'll make sure you're taken care of. And they kind of did that for a while. They took the men, they gave to women. At the moment, they're arresting mothers with their children in the street for not wearing masks. They're breaking into people's homes because they said something on social media that was, against the government's ridiculous restrictions. And what's happening?
Pregnant women on the beach.
Exactly. And what's happening is I believe very strongly that women will start waking up to this. I know a lot of women already have. And they'll realize that to the government, you are just cattle. Men recognize this because we see naturally far into the future, because we have to protect. Women tend to look at what's close to them, which is their job. They need to look at what's close and make sure that the close things are taken care of. But now danger is close, and so they're suffering it as well. And I think what's happened now is we have the opportunity to be the rock. The rock of government has been taken away from them. They have no solid foundation. That's why they're freaking out. That's why you see, you've probably seen that memes of women screaming into the camera online. These women are women. My favorite is the one where they had several women and then like a rhesus monkey screaming as well. The monkey fit perfectly in with that because it was
Yep.
out of control. Actually, the monkey seemed saner than the women, but it was just being a monkey. The women were being crazy, but
Yeah.
that craziness is because they've been detached. There's nothing they can rely on in society. Everything has been destroyed because all power was given to the government, all power from the church, all power from our social institutions. All of our ways that we looked after each other as communities, and that's mostly looked after women. We're men, we don't need anyone to look after us. Women need to be protected. Children need to be protected and cared for. We don't need it. We can get together with our friends and be fine. It's women who suffer when society collapses. And for 75 years, they've been taking all the power from these institutions that have been created and gathering it together in the government, and now it's coming back to bite them. And we have this golden opportunity to show that we are the solid rocks of society and that we are the ones that they need to listen to get out of this mess.
But you can't fake it. You actually have to be that, and you have to become that. It's a process, and it's painful.
You have to look like you're that.
It's a necessarily painful process. It involves you embracing suffering as a man. I mean, this is actually how you become a patriarch, is you embrace suffering and you learn to love the suffering, because if you lean into the edge of your comfort zone and you push beyond your comfort zone, you get stronger and more resilient and more able to withstand. And that's how you become strong. And this is both physical and psychological and spiritual. And I think one of the great psychological tools that we can begin to work on as men, and it's certainly been helpful to me, is stop seeing yourself as a citizen of the globo homo multiculti world. Stop allowing their program to determine how you view the world. Stop even looking through the lens that they've given you, and start to step away from it, walk away from it and say, this is the world I'm a prisoner in, but it's not my world. It's not my society. My society is yet to come, but we're building it one man at a time, one family at a time, one woman at a time. We're going to get there, and it's going to be great. But it's not there yet. So right now we're prisoners. We're aliens and prisoners in this messed up death cult that's gone global. But you can be free of it psychologically now by refusing to allow yourself to view your life and your attitudes and the world through the lens that they've forced you to have. Take their lens off, realize, take off the glasses, that they've given you, and realize that it's a lie. It's not actually how it's meant to be. It's not how it will always be. It's most certainly not how it's always been. This kind of world we live in is very, very new. It's a very new development, and it won't last. It's unsustainable. We can see that. It's collapsing right before our very eyes. So all you have to do is take the lens off before the rest of the world, and now you've got an edge. You're ahead of the curve, and you're preparing yourself for the kingdom that's coming, and you're preparing yourself to be a sovereign man in that world that's coming. And in fact, by preparing yourself, you are making that world come. And if we each do that in lockstep as men of the West, it's going to be fantastic. We're going to have a great time. And even if we don't see it come to full fruit in our lifetime, we're going to leave something better for our children that they can continue to build upon, and they'll do the same for their children. And maybe in 3, 4, or 5 generations, we will have that world again. But if you don't start now, by freeing yourself from the paradigm that they've forced upon you psychologically,